All right, we are back with one more Microtech OTF. This is the Combat Troodon. Troodon? I don't know. It's this guy, if it'll focus. Troodon Signature Series Ultum. Top and button with Magna Cut. Let's talk about this guy. And Ultum. Let's just start with Ultum. What is Ultum? It's a plastic, really. It's a fancy plastic. It's a, what do they call it? It is a polyetheramide, PEI, and it's branded as Ultum. Okay. It is a thermoplastic. It's like PEC, polyethylene keen, I think. Keet. I didn't write that one down in my notes. But it is super strong. It's machined with a CNC. It is thermally stable to 217 degrees Celsius, which is like 422 Fahrenheit or something like that. Chemically resistant to most chemicals. There are some that will eat and etch away at it. It is a good electrical insulator, so it does not conduct electricity. There's a lot of good, kind of cool properties about it if you're into having a plastic-ish knife. It is always amber in color and translucent like it is. So let's talk about that next and kind of the insides of these. And I've got a couple of other Microtechs here that I've talked about in the last couple of days, just for some size comparisons towards the end. But all of the Microtech OTFs, and in general, okay, in general, they all, the double actions kind of all have the similar insides, okay? So right now at rest, there is no spring tension on anything. The blade is just held in place. It's not moving around. It's just there. As you, let's see if I can do this with keeping it on camera without cutting my finger off on TV. That would suck. Okay, as you push the fire button towards the front, you are you're pulling the spring apart to give it that action, right? And then you get to a certain point, and then it fires out. Okay, now your spring is compressed in this direction. So when I pull back, we're now pulling the spring back to where it was on this side, and you'll get to a certain point where it will release and the spring will go back to where it normally was. I hope that makes sense. People probably already know, but you can see it. You can see the inner workings with the Ultum cover, which I think is cool. Because even when you take it apart, if you were to take apart this guy, you would see that, but you wouldn't really be able to, in a safe and whatnot manner, be able to fire it with the top open, right? Because the spring would go flying. It would make a mess. The blade would hit the floor. Like, it'd just be a mess, right? So I think it's cool to have this as, if nothing else, a show and tell piece for that. There you go. It served its purpose. I can put it back in the box, ship it back, right? Not so fast. We'll see. All right, so DLC coated on the back, the pocket clip, glass breaker, Ultum top, front, and the fire button. Okay. Magna Cut on the blade steel, also DLC coated. Super cool, comes super sharp, feels good in the hand. All in all, I like the Microtechs. As we have gone up in size, let's go down in size. Here is the Bounty Hunter Ultratech, and here is the UTX 80. There is, it's 80 or 85? I don't remember. I'm looking just because This is the Ultratech, this is the UTX 85. There is a 75, which I've done a video on. I think that video was an orange handled. Little tiny guy. Okay? Anyway, not that anybody cares. But this just kind of shows you the different sizes. The spring tensions are different. As you go up and down in size, it's easier and harder. So it's kind of like lighter, medium, and strongest, which makes sense. You know, they're very similar, but there is a slight difference. All right, so specs on this bad boy, 5 3/4, 9.5 overall with a 3.79 inch blade, 3.6 behind edge, and 0.012 behind the edge. Why am I trying to read and talk at the same time? I don't know. Blade thickness, 0.126. Overall thickness, minus the clip, is 0.597, and it weighs in at 4.7 ounces. Man, that sucked, and I am sorry that you guys had to live through that piece. All right, so this is pretty cool. These run about $655, and I totally spaced. This was lent in by Eric over at the Blade Barn. There's his information. Reach out to him. Tell him you saw the video here. He will hook you up with a discount of anything on his website or in his store. Or if you're interested in this one, he might make you a deal on these 3 that are going to be headed back to him shortly. Maybe. These 2 are heading back for sure. This one he offered to trade me for my Shiro Quantum Ursus. Urus? I don't know how you pronounce it. Ursus. That I desperately kind of want to sell. Wasn't really looking to trade. He also said he'd try to sell it for me since I am apparently better at selling other people's knives than my own. I don't know if I want an OTF. I mean, I have a couple. I would probably just flip this, so that I might as well just give it back to him and let him sell it. Because oftentimes, kind of like this one, I did a trade deal for this, and then I tried to trade it out again and kind of keep moving my trade deals, and it just kind of sat. So sometimes you get a knife, you think you're going to be able to flip it and either make your money back or make money or even not lose money. Like trying to sell this one at a discount and it's just not moving. So yeah, I'll probably just send this knife back to Eric and not worry about trying to flip it and sell it and whatever. 'Cause I'm not going to carry around OTF. That's just not my jam. Plus, they're not that I really care, but I will point out I live in California. And because I live in California, there are some rules against automatic knives. And what you will find funny, as I do, get more in trouble for carrying an automatic knife. That's Spyderco Delica, by the way. Whether it's an OTF like that one or a side opener like this one, you get in more trouble than for carrying a firearm without proper permits and all that. Yeah, I know. I just never mind. California is great weather. I've lived here all my life, and my oldest son just had my first grandson in California. So I'm kind of stuck here for a while. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I will put a link to Blade Barn down below. I will also put a link to Ultum down below because I found it very interesting to read this article that explained what Ultum was, where it kind of came from, some of its uses, how to machine it. It was an interesting article, and if you want to nerd out on plastic, I'll put a link down below. And up in the corner, I will put my Microtech playlist because I've done a bunch of Microtechs over the years. And so yeah, go check it out.